We're talking about uniform across the board, and then I was like, what about something pops up where I need to?
Jerry, for 1 second.
What your concerns are.
You call a business meeting of Verona Council to order, the March 12th business meeting. Stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Provenza, present. Mr. Floda.
Here.
Mayor Recupero.
Here.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
President Suchovich.
Here.
Ms. Red Zach Showalter.
Present.
Dr. Carpenter.
Present.
Mr. Pitch.
Here.
Mr. Jamalis.
Here.
Mr. Long.
Any additional emergency agenda items? Nothing. We have no registered comments from the public. So we'll take comments from the public. This time we are comments on public related items. Please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand. Clearly state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Cindy Davis, 537 Bridge Avenue. I have a question. When are they coming to pay Center Avenue? With every rain that we get, every heavy rain, we get more and more gravel. And now it's starting to clog up the gutters on the bottom there. On First Street, I have piles. We have swept them over, the kids and I kicked them over. And it's getting worse with every rainfall. Then we're gonna have to have them come and clean the drain down.
They got tied up last year at the end of the season, because the construction on the sewer drain was a little longer than expected. They're supposedly the first one of the first ones on the agenda, once the asphalt plant's open and the beginning of the spring.
Okay, thank you.
Don't have an exact date, but that's what we were told.
Okay,
Correct,
thanks,
Matt?
Ed.
Yeah, that's what I confirmed. We're the first one on his schedule. Unfortunately, the asphalt plants don't open until early April.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'd expect something early April. I will talk to DPW though, that after rain events to just check First Street there.
Yeah.
Like
The
that.
company's doing Wildwood too,
Correct.
so they would have to finish that first.
No,
No.
No,
Same
I'm sorry, it's the same company that installed the storm drain,
Yeah.
doing Wildwood. It's a different paving company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that was good. Affected
No, it's two
somehow.
different companies.
That's good.
Anybody else? I don't see no virtual hands. Comments from advisory boards and commissions, we have nothing. I have nothing tonight. It's down to the mayor, Mayor Recupero.
I just have a few things, what did I? The sign on Wildwood Avenue, and Second Street, are we gonna put that up? The, welcome to Verona sign? It's, in Penn Hills, actually, you know, that little corner there.
I believe we got a place picked out. We were waiting on, legal issues. It's not a property, correct?
Well, that's all we have to do is go, well, John said we could do it, he owns the, Pittsburgh Pickle Company.
I know, but shouldn't we have something in writing?
Well, most definitely, but the last I remember, it was going to Penn Hills to, you know, to tell them we're gonna do that. And we need something in writing from them.
I have an email from them. Do we know that?
I would want
Okay,
something that could sign
okay.
between the parties.
And we do not have to know that area, correct?
Well, that's what I was talking about, the agreement, you agreed with,
Yeah.
You need your responsibilities detailed.
Yeah,
so that way, since it's not a property, who's gonna maintain cutting grass around the sign?
I mean, you don't want it to look dumpy.
Yeah, or say someone wrecks into the sign,
Right.
or are we gonna get
Well, we would
sued
be,
for whatever the person owns the property?
I just have a question on if the visibility coming down Second, taking that right, if it's gonna be
no,
blocked the.
It's gonna be back along the street.
Because I didn't
Yeah,
know what
close
the
to
sewer
trees.
was, you know.
yeah.
That'd be my other question.
The other thing I have is, we were going to redo the steps over by the War Memorial. And I got a letter from a resident stating, it was supposed to be in the budget, I guess, this year. We need to do something with that. It's terrible. It's a memorial that the school kids painted, but it's all deteriorated. Several years ago, I did get a price on repointing everything, and it was about $3,500 from the concrete man, which is up in Oakmont. Then he came down and gave a price, and it kind of went on the wayside. So I don't know what you want to do with that, but it looks like heck, for Memorial Day.
So, Mayor, you said the steps, but are you talking about the wall?
The wall and the steps, they're deteriorating.
Okay.
And the memorial,
Cracks and stuff there.
yeah, and it all needs repointed, some of the steps need to be redone, but the main thing is,
Too, right?
yeah. But the main thing is pretty much the military, mural, is deteriorated so bad, it looks like heck.
Yeah.
Do we put that in the budget?
We can look at that. I mean, I don't think it would be a problem. I think we need to look at the price. I put like 3,500 in. I'm just worried that after the scope of what you just said to me is not the scope that I understood. So Matt, can you help me look at that and see what we can figure out?
Yeah, we can get some prices to see what it's gonna take, Matt, to repoint that and what have you, but then we could go, approach the school also and see if they will be willing to redo that. If not, the gentleman that does, he did the mural over at Center Avenue, Rich Barnecker, we could get a price off of him to redo that. You could take pictures of what's there and put it back the way it was. We can go from there.
As far as the mural, I gave the paint layer to the high school teacher, the art teacher. But they were feeling like it was gonna be too difficult for them at this point, like if they just touched it up, the paint would be like different colors, it's fading and.
Well, I'm talking about redoing it, all
Okay.
together,
Okay, I don't,
starting from scratch is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
we may wanna pull her in early to see if that's something they're still on board.
Right,
It definitely needs.
right.
But I can't imagine it would be done by Memorial Day.
No,
Matt, could we also possibly look into getting a smaller, maybe zero or low percentage match grant to completely landscape that whole area, because it's the whole hillside slate. It's probably part of the reason it's deteriorating so fast all the time is there's no drainage there. So if we were to get that area, that whole corner landscaped, then it might cost less in the future for repairs. And if the water was being carried away from it. Right.
They could look at that.
Wasn't a portion of that in Raya,
Yeah.
do some type of planting there?
Yes.
They did, but they were supposed to put batting and step it, and they didn't do that. They ended up being able to just plant on it. So, and it's all wildflowers and stuff anyway. I'm sure that they wouldn't be opposed to having a planting surface, because they're trying to plant on slate right now. And if we were able to maybe put garden boxes or something, then they can plant whatever they want.
I mean, check with Ray, because,
I mean,
yeah. They're in process of their project there.
huh?
Their project is still continuing there, as I
The
understand.
project started out as a Parks and Rec project. They're no longer on Parks and Rec.
Well, we'll definitely have community input on that. I had another wild question for you, Matt, not to add to your questions, but is there anything we can do at that area to add more ADA accessibility?
Well, that's why I was bringing up getting the grant and
You guys are talking.
re-landscaping that
I
whole
mean,
area.
I know where you're going.
With High Street there, I mean, that's well beyond the ADA grades. I mean, we can put some ramps in and make it, I don't think there's any sidewalk from north down to Selden right now. So we could look into,
Oh, yeah, there's a sidewalk there.
Is there?
You just can't see it.
is it covered? So I mean,
They cover more of a sewer, like luge.
I mean, we can look into cleaning it up, or if need be, installing something new, but as far as ADA, it's not gonna be compliant. But you can make it as accessible as possible. That'd be like trying to come down Center Avenue with ADA grade, it's just, there's some places it's impossible, but you can make it as accessible as much.
I see what just said, like, if we did landscape that, we could put a couple switchbacks or something. To,
Which
for
is
somebody, if somebody is in a wheelchair, they have to go around and then up. It would be easier if they could switch back beside the steps to get up.
definitely more than 3K,
Huh?
definitely gonna be more than 3K.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why-
I'm like,
that's
this
why I
one's
mentioned-
about $100,000 in.
No, that's why I mentioned for a grant in the future to, because it needs a complete revamping, we keep fixing it and it keeps deteriorating more rapidly. Like, last time we fixed it was maybe 10 years ago, and we fix it now, how long is it gonna last, 5 years this time, 3 years this time, and eventually it's just.
Right.
Mr. President, do you maybe want to assign this to a committee to look at short and long-term goals?
That would be parks and property.
That's why I'm bringing it up. Parks and properties, it's on my agenda.
Mayor, maybe we can achieve some goals before Memorial Day and then work on a grant or something for long-term.
Yeah, that's fine. I just, was asked to bring it up and I was asked to bring this up too. I guess it'll go to parks also. I don't know. The veteran flags that we have on our poles. We talked about, talking to Duquesne Light. I don't know if we have a liaison, somebody we could talk to about putting them on the poles itself. Many communities that you ride by, a lot of communities have them sitting on the poles. And we have a whole list of people that would like to buy in on the flag. But we just ran out of room on our own personal, on the borough poles.
I thought Chamber was working on it.
I think that.
I mean, Kevin was. but-
Kevin, he asked that, if you remember, that we could look into who's in charge of Verona area and ask them about putting them on the poles.
Cause I know last year we had a pole get hit by a car. We put a temporary sign on a telephone pole just because.
Yes.
Right.
Is there any update on that pole? They got knocked down?
It's back, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's replaced.
Oh, cool.
It's just last summer for
The other one's not back yet, but that one is.
there was a woman who called and said it was her husband.
Yeah, missing drilling.
Yeah.
And we just put
They
them,
were
we
put them
put
on
them on, we put them on.
Yeah.
Finished the post office.
Yeah.
She loved that he was there, we put it back there, and still there.
We put it right on a telephone pole.
Never moved it.
So
Well, can we have,
we should have permission from Duke Light to do that, so.
So I think this is maybe more, who deals with Duquesne Light? Is that Stephanie Nutt?
I have a contact.
Okay.
Could
we
you
can
ask them,
ask
or
them.
do you know of any other towns that have signs like that on telephone poles?
Can't speak for Duquesne Light, but I know all the way through, like East here, Trenton and Lower Rural, that's, West Penn. And they, like, it's not allowed to be permanent, so they all have like a PVC bracket that
I
they,
think those are
glue
like
together.
those straps.
and then they use big hose clamps to attach them. And West Penn doesn't have a problem. I can't see Duquesne having a problem as long as we're not screwing something into the
Right.
pole.
Did you see if we could?
But I'll email next contact and ask.
Yeah, Chamber's been wanting to add like 50 flags to their thing for years.
Yeah, Mayor, related to the mural, there's like so many poles down Selden leading to the mural that would be lovely to add signs right there.
Right, the other thing, I have a question for the fire chief. As we all know, heard on the news, another house blew up, and that was, Crescent Township. Then early this morning, on the news, they interviewed, Bernie
we
Collins.
interviewed him last night, yeah.
Oh, was that okay, I see it. About the gas leak over there that, People's Gas is, aware of, is
Wait,
there.
over there
At
where?
Daly's, and, I'm sorry, over by Daly's, and, I guess just the concern, with all these gas, and apparently that one over there has been you know, for several weeks and yeah, we'll get to it and what have you.
It's been like 6 months.
Is that right? I mean, I know it's a concern, but is there anything that, you know, we as a board should say, hey, we need to get this fixed for public safety? We got 2 large businesses over there. I mean, what's your opinion?
No, I just found out about it last night myself. I don't know the severity of the leak. We had a similar instance on Union Street, where it was very low level leak, where there was no hazards or harm to the community. I would recommend that somebody from the borough reach out to them to find out the extent of, what's going on.
It's a pretty good snow down there. You get down to that valley, it snows up pretty good.
And we'll tell you the one thing we do, when things are going to blow, there's no smell. They said there was no smell in Plum and there was no smell in Crescent.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, you know.
That was the one, I was like, at least if it smells, I'm good.
Stephanie, you think you could reach out, I know we're putting a lot on your plate. You think you could reach out tomorrow maybe and reach out to Peoples?
I will see what I
This is
can
our
do.
concern from the community that, you know, with everything that's happening. And our fire chief, you know, concerned.
Well,
that-
now that they're on the news, I'm sure.
We
that
get a
they're
lot
gonna
from-
be-
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they're, yeah.
Right, that's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Our manager's report.
Revised office hours. We're basically, will be closed starting at noon tomorrow. We are getting new furniture, which means we have to empty out our entire offices to prepare for this. We will review messages and make sure that any issues are taken care of, but the window will not be open.
Is DPW helping you guys?
Yes, so we have meetings up until noon on Wednesday and then I mean, it's going to be horrible. And this room will, I told you earlier, this room will be locked down because that's what all our stuff is going, some of our files and stuff are going while the new furniture is being brought in.
And do you have any prospective opening time?
Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the furniture's not coming till Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking the building is gonna be a long process. We've talked about coming back with our husbands this weekend. And he's gonna yell at me in about 5 seconds. And tell him and have them,
I look,
yeah, I'm gonna get cut. Have them help us get stuff back in the office, cause we have to be up and running on Monday, but this is the only way we can do it. At this time. Floor cleaning, I sent you a proposal, even though it says Verona Police Department, it's actually for all of us. Here is the areas that this quote is for. All the carpets will be scrubbed. At the office in the municipal area, the chamber. The foyer, the men's and women's bathroom, the police's reception area will be scrubbed. And the areas to be stripped and waxed will be the kitchen. All the back hallways, the historical room and the men's room in the police station. And that's all for $13.50.
It's been a while, I think,
Yeah.
probably 10, 15 years since we've done it, actually.
It seems like a really good price too.
Yeah,
I figured we just painted the lobby and the EVW did such a wonderful job, I thought, you know.
no, because the floor out there does get it in the cracks, you know, the dirt and what have you. It looked nice the last time we had it done, so I'm sure it'll look nice again.
April workshop meeting, Trish mentioned that April 23rd is primary election day. Since we're preparing to do a whole bunch of advertising, we need to decide if we want to move the meeting to the 30th or what we would like to do for that workshop meeting.
You're consider 30th, sorry.
would the 30th work for the advertising we have to do, or should we go to the 16th? And then we'll just have well, that'd be like 4 weeks between workshop and next regular meeting.
And
30th sounds good.
30th,
So we're just gonna add it to the 30th instead of 20th.
well, it's gonna be advertised for April 30th, okay.
you good with that? Everybody good with that? We'll make the motion later.
Yep, that'll come up later. The committee meetings. You all in your package should have received a form that looks something like this with all the committees on them. please review, let me know of any changes, because this too will have to be advertised in the next. When we do all of our advertisements.
Where'd it go?
I don't know, I think they'll,
They're in there.
yeah, are they, now the meetings that are Zoom, are we just offering Zoom?
Well, I know personally, what I did last year was come here in person, the committee came here in person, you were here. But I also had Zoom and occasionally Tricia Ray would pop
So we're
in.
gonna have to work on getting you guys a computer, oh god,
Well, I thought we were gonna learn how to use this.
for a small meeting like that.
A lot of expensive equipment to.
Yeah, well, you guys use it for Parks and Rec, so what's the difference?
Wow. Yeah, but I almost had a heart attack last night, 'cause people were touching the screen. I was like, oh.
Do we need SOP and a policy on that?
Yeah, there's gonna have to be a policy,
Can we use the old computer that we've been
or you
using?
could, I would say you could just use, we have a brand new one that belongs to the council chambers.
Oh, excellent.
That we bought when we
Yeah,
bought
well,
all.
I'm not attached to that, I just remember when you were first getting this in, you said, don't worry, we're gonna train you how to use it.
Yeah, we'll train you. Somebody else will have to learn how to use it, because I'm not here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kind of.
I would like to know how to use it.
So,
Until I know.
yeah.
But anyway, a computer is fine, just that's
Okay.
just personally for what I used to do, I just, and you know, you're
Well,
different, John.
I just need to know, because if they're Zoom only, you have to tell me they're Zoom only. So please let me know. Because I'll get these advertised probably get everything to go next Monday.
The way mine customarily been, has been, I will need a Zoom link. But the Zoom link is only for committee members.
Okay.
If anybody else wants to attend, they have to attend first.
Okay. Got
So
it.
it's just too hard to, and then I feel guilty if we advertise the Zoom link for the public. And then there's a technical issue, then I feel like crap. Because there might be 10 people at home trying to come to my committee meeting and
Vince, you're hilarious.
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like, then I'm down here sweating, like, how many people are trying to come, and then they're gonna think that I'm trying to have a closed meeting, so. My committee meetings are in person, the Zoom link is just for committee members that have family emergencies or on vacation or.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, the intern fair is next Wednesday, so I will be, I guess, going somewhere by the University of Pitt. I have no idea. God help me.
Do you have to go to the intern fair to get a local
LJ.
government academy intern?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure of the process.
Yeah, I thought they sent a couple people out last time when.
No.
I think Christine went down to that.
Did she?
fair last time.
Yeah.
You're required.
Oh, that's fine, yeah,
You're required.
no, that's fine.
That's it.
Very good, thank you. Code enforcement report?
You have the code enforcement report for February. If you have any questions, let us know.
Thank you. Police chief's report?
Yes, complaints received 92, total crimes reported 23, total crimes cleared 20. Persons arrested 8, crimes code summaries issued none, vehicle code summary issues 8. Borough code summary issued 6, borough parking tickets 11. Magistrate fines collected $477.46. Borough fines and fees collected $145. Police reports purchased $30. And for the big one, amusement device permit fees $10,900. And total fines and fees collected $11,552.46. Parking permit fees $305. And that's it.
Nice to see those amusement fees are coming in on time again.
Pretty much all of them, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right after 2020, they were
Yeah.
coming in like June.
Well, yeah, there's 2 new ones that still, I don't believe that they're on here yet. We just found that they have them.
I think we caught both of them.
Well, I mean, we did, yeah, but I don't know if they got the money yet, is what I'm saying.
Parking fees dropped because we don't have their cars now.
Well, we're waiting on tickets.
Oh, the printing issues, you're right.
There's printing issues, yes.
Next up, Fire Chief, Dan P.
The fire department had a total of 6 calls for the month of February, starting on 2-2 residential structure fire. 11127 Frankstown Road in Penn Hills, small kitchen fire. 2-9, possible residential structure fire, 2519 Orlando Place in Penn Hills, smoking basement. 214, commercial fire alarm, 1 daily way in Verona, false alarm. 215, assist EMS at 755 East Railroad Avenue, Apartment 1 in Verona. 224, commercial structure fire, 3548 Lakeland Road, Apartment 2 in Penn Hills, snow fire. And 229, a vehicle fire at 477 Center Avenue in Verona.
Anybody have anything for Dan?
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. EMS report. Lower back.
Hello.
How are you?
For the month of February, we had 40 EMS calls. Throughout the borough. 8 of those were treated and transported ALS. 11 of them were treated and transported BLS. We had 2 fire standbys, 1 refusal, 10 lift assist, 1 cancellation, and 2 we had mutual aid responded for. All in the detail. And then there were 5 no transports or others for a total of 40 EMS responses. Which is down from January by 21%.
Yeah, January was busy.
Yeah, busy for the fire department too.
Yeah.
I have a question. 755 East Railroad, Farm 1. I noticed on the fire report, and I was going through your report last night. You guys probably have 10 or so, at least 10 to that address. Is there anything that needs to be done there, or are you working on something there, or?
There is one within there.
Okay,
Great.
so I know you, I mean, I counted at least 10.
And it takes quite a while to get that intervention and get them to move on. But I mean, we were here 3 times.
Yeah, you know what, every hour, I've seen it come. So, all right,
I'm also excited to announce that we will be rolling out a new program in April. With regard to, we're going to offer CPR training to all residents of our municipalities, and we're only going to charge $15 for this to sign up for. This is compared to what the cost is out there.
Great.
So it's something new.
do you do that over there, or do you find a place in town?
Well, right now, we're gonna focus on our station, but if we get, let's say we get 10 or 15 people in run, then I'm gonna come to you guys and say, hey, can I use a facility over here somewhere? So.
I'm sure Dan and the fire department, would let you use that place too.
That's awesome.
So that's a nice big facility.
Floors will be clean here. They will.
Can you offer that, so you can offer that to actually local businesses as well?
Yes, any, as long as it's within our municipalities that we cover, we're gonna offer the $15 per person.
You gotta get cards and everything printed out.
Yes. And that $15 is probably just to cover the costs that we're associated with, it's not like we're just trying to be.
How many can you have in a class at one time?
We can do, I would say safely, we can do 20, but I prefer to keep it well,
Okay.
Very good. Thank you. We'll pass that word.
Thank you.
Next up is the solicitor's report, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did submit my monthly report. It is in the packet. A few things to add to that. First and foremost, to announce that we did hold an executive session immediately preceding tonight's council meeting, beginning at 6:00 p.m. to discuss various legal and personnel issues. two items on the solicitor's report for additional discussion are, discussion about and possible action on Steel City Rowing MOU. I did get a draft of the MOU over to Stephanie, but it wasn't until, late in the afternoon. I don't know if you got a chance to.
I did check it over, I found one mistake, but it's exactly how I remember us talking with Will. So I figured if we can get that mistake, we can send it to them and they can share it.
So what we'll do is we'll make that correction tomorrow, get it disseminated to mayor and council, and get it over to Will, and I'm sure he'll have some feedback from Steel City and get a draft and final for either the workshop meeting or for action at the regular meeting in April.
And all of this actually says is because they're putting our ADA kayak launch on there, that basically we understand that it's their property and that people are only allowed to use that launch.
Right.
In the past, we also had, and I'm not positive, we had an actual MOU
We did.
about them repairing our
We did.
docks roads.
And it's referenced in this one too.
Okay,
Yeah, none of that is changing, it's just adding the addition of the fact that we're adding that, because the launch is going onto their dock.
so they're still willing to maintain our dock. Okay, cool.
They've been a great partner with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second item, the second discussion item under my report and possible action regards another memorandum of understanding, this one with the RAA. Ms. Floda took the time to compare the current agreement with the RAA and the proposed agreement and highlighted them both to show the different changes. I'm gonna turn it over to Vince and he can explain what's going on with that and we can make a decision on how to go.
I can discuss it whenever we're under the action items, correct?
Okay, sure.
It's
So
not,
that includes my report.
it's not under the action items.
Oh, okay. I can discuss it now. Looking at the old agreement compared to the new agreement. Kind of seems like RAA wants to add some responsibilities to the borough. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with them. I just think that this original agreement was signed in 2018. And there is 2 years left on that contract, I believe. So it's already in the contract that RA has permission to do full maintenance of both infields. So you already have permission to do that. You're allowed to do complete maintenance except herbicide and pesticide application. Everything else is pretty much negotiable, but I think that this is a bigger conversation that would probably have to go through Parks and Rec and the Parks and Properties Committees. Because that's more than just me, that's 7 people on Parks and Rec and 3-person committee. I think that since we still do have 2 years left on the original contract, I would propose to council and RA that we take next year and sit down and negotiate a good binding agreement to go to the next 10 years. I see that you wanted it to be 10 years. And I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a bigger conversation and something that I don't really feel comfortable pushing through real fast because it's a really big commitment.
Yeah.
So, that would be my recommendation. They are asking for permission to do the work on the infields this year. I don't see a problem with, you already have permission to do it. And we will go over the renewal of the contract at a later date.
Okay.
That sounds
Sounds
good.
Yeah, I think the reason it was 10 years was the hope of not being charged fees to recoup half those costs. So,
Yeah, and we understand that.
Yes, that would be
And I mean, the last one was 8 years, so it's,
Right, yeah.
it's uniform.
Yeah.
So, and I understand nobody wants to renegotiate contracts every year, that's
Yeah.
a pain in the butt. So,
No,
but it's just a bigger
It is.
conversation that I don't think, if we sat here and made a decision tonight, there's gonna be people on Parks and Rec, like, why were we left out of the loop?
Mhm.
We haven't even had a committee meeting this year for Parks Properties. I just think it's a bigger, more in-depth discussion.
Is everybody cool with Vince's recommendation? Sounds like a
Yeah.
pretty good solution.
And it sounds like they can do what they want with the
Oh, yeah.
individuals.
They already, it's in the current contract.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, they wanted to change it, and they'll be able to do that, is that?
I have a question as it
If you
relates.
just come up to, I'm sorry, if you come up to the podium, please, I'm sorry,
No, no worries, I didn't want to.
Oh, no.
that way it's on record,
I just have a question as it relates to the herbicides, because when I
What's
read
your name?
the agreement,
your name and address, please,
Colin Hagan, 213 Riverfront Street,
thank you.
also 326. But as it relates to the herbicide, when I read through the agreement, that's something that doesn't fall under our purview. And I guess my question is, my objective was to get clarification on what that's gonna look like for this year and coming, right? Because one of the things we've fallen into, and I'm not in by any means, but is the idea that we end up having some weed growth and things along those lines that fall beyond what we can do easily, and then we fall behind, right? And so then we get into a bowl situation with the infield. So that would just be my question. If we can get clarification on that,
We can check, Milt comes out and does all of our herbicide and all of that, so we can make sure that that gets done.
Okay.
But we can also.
That's done in the spring and fall, correct?
Once a year.
Yeah.
3 times a year.
And we can also look at what it would cost to maybe have a landscaper like once a month,
Spray it in the fields.
spray the infield, just check them out.
Sure, yeah, I mean, that's, because on my end, I look at, we're putting them, you know, we're looking
yeah.
for that money
No,
and
no,
we just wanna
right.
make sure it lasts.
Yeah.
And if it rains for 2 weeks, you can't go up there and drag it, and then you're gonna get weeds anyway, so.
Yeah, we can do that and you can, yell at me whenever you need
I
to.
don't think-
My other question is, do we have a schedule yet?
I do, and I can share with you, so we have, the first couple of weeks is actually set, but I will share with you our link to our site, so you can port it anytime. you want. That was when I took my notes coming out here last time. Yes, that's what we'll do.
If
We'll
you
share
could
with
just,
you.
he
the
has
link.
my email, if you could email it to us,
Perfect.
that would be perfect. Thank you.
Awesome, no, thank
Thank you, gentlemen.
And we will get together, I will send you an email or be in touch with you guys and. We're good for this year, maybe
Okay.
beginning of next year, we'll sit down, we'll go over the old contract, go over the one that you proposed, and if you have any additions. And we'll come to an understanding where all parties are.
Sounds great.
Ladies, we want to work with you, and we want you here.
Yeah.
There are kids too, and we're not trying to make it difficult, but.
This is, the new one was just a lot,
It's, there's,
and I didn't want to
Makes
get
sense.
through and. It bite us in the butt later, or there might be something in there that you guys overlooked, because I know time crunch and.
Yeah.
You know, weather doesn't wait for anybody, so.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
So I just wonder, Vince, would it be possible just to highlight like one or two of the major changes between the old contract and the new contract? That you're aware of?
There's still an issue with water lines, we did install water lines up there.
I thought so.
It technically wasn't where they wanted them in the original
Ah.
contract, they wanted water lines, both backstops, we put one accessible on the outside of the building.
Yeah,
And that's gonna be, that's a big thing, it's gonna
Yeah.
cost a lot of money to run underground water
Yes.
lines to each of the backstops, and. We did put T drain in there, 2 years ago, to field drainage, There's other things on there like. The original contract said that we would build
Why
that.
don't you just forward that?
Yeah, we'll just forward that.
yeah, you can forward, I'm on the committee, so,
That will just.
yeah,
That's gonna be the first
yeah.
thing on the
But if I
agenda.
could have some time to look at it, and if you highlighted stuff, then.
I could just forward you the email that I sent Greg and Seth.
Perfect.
Okay,
That'll answer all your questions.
all right, thank you.
Anybody else? Thanks, Vince. Next up, engineers report, Mr. Pitch.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have my written report, just a few
Thanks,
items.
guys.
Thank you.
items that didn't make it or changed since I submitted it. The ADA ramps on Grant Street were completed today. We got some minor caulking and touch-up work that they'll be back tomorrow to finish, but they're all done.
They look really nice.
And it's Grant and where?
Grant and, or James and Sylvan. Did I say Grant?
Cigarette, you mentioned.
I'm sorry, James and Sylvan.
Okay, James and Sylvan, but in the corner, what's the intersection street?
What about children's
What about
center?
James and Sylvan.
Oh, yes. All right.
You'll see Rob's and Pipe around town. They're finishing out the CCTV work. So they started on Third. I think they made it down to Second Street today. They're gonna also be doing a section of Brunot, the full length of Sylvan and the full length of Jones. So you might see or hear them around town for the next couple of days. The culvert work on Wildwood is moving along well. I met with him yesterday to lay out the wall placement, the fencing he has up in the vertical panels is providing pedestrian access around it. I know that was an issue last time, so that we made sure to fix that this time.
Thank you.
I was at the rec meeting last night. We discussed the GTRP grant we have for the parks. We discussed moving forward with the revised scope of work that I had provided with some possible add alternatives. So I'll be getting that ready for advertisement. And then the other thing I just wanted to talk about briefly, it is an agenda item to advertise. Stephanie and I have been working on the garbage contracts. Probably one of the biggest changes we're looking to do. Currently, the billing goes through every resident by themselves. We met with Oakmont Water. Oakmont Water is willing for a small fee to add it to their billing of the water and sewage. Currently, right now, when a complaint comes in, it comes into the borough anyways. So, and then 9 times out of 10, the complaints are billing related. So we just felt that that's gonna cut a whole step out of it of us taking phone calls just to report a phone number and email address back to a resident to try to make that contact themselves. Also speaking with some of the interested parties, they view it much more favorable that they're just dealing with one entity versus every resident. We're also looking at right now, the language of the contract is unlimited. We're looking at reducing it to 10 bags per resident. Speaking with some of the contractors, they felt that was a reasonable ask. I know personally with 2 little kids, I average only about 6 bags. So I feel 10 is good. And they're not gonna count either. I mean, if you have 11, maybe the 12th, they're not gonna leave it on the curb. Clearly, if you have 20, something might be said then.
Unlimited is a lot.
Well,
Having that language in there, I understand.
they cannot anticipate how much they could show up in town in a quarter of the way through town and fill a truck. Where if they can anticipate a maximum of 2 trucks per route, it's a lot easier for them to anticipate. We're gonna keep some of the other stuff the same, like 1 large item per month. You're still gonna be allowed mattresses and things like that, as long as they just ask that they're done respectfully. So those are the big changes that are coming. And we're also looking at adding a fuel escalator charge. Just because during the COVID years when fuel just spiked out of control, a lot of those companies were really collecting trash for break even. So you've been reading in the papers, a lot of these contracts have been skyrocketing. Speaking to some of them, they have to account for that, but not all the price increases due to that, but there's some safety net there. We're talking to them, if we allow that if fuel goes up more than 10%, we allow for a certain adjustment. It's more of a safety net for them, so they can give us a truer price upfront than worrying about the what ifs. So I'm pretty confident that we should be able to get decent numbers and not see the 40-50% increases, I hope, by limiting some of this stuff. But we'll get that finalized and out the bid here in the next month.
So do you have any idea how much of a fee Oakmont Water is gonna charge? She's saying a minimum
2%.
2%.
2%.
So how much does that approximately work out to be, do we know?
Well, it depends on how much the
Uh,
contracts for right now.
right now, I think it's 1775 a month,
I think it's more than that. Sure, but yeah.
so approximately. Round up, say 50 cents a month
For them to do our garbage.
For them to.
per bill.
household.
Per bill.
So is
Yeah.
it
But the reason I'm asking is because we already have a small fee, for them to do our sanitary,
Correct.
which is, it's a decent amount of money.
Yeah, there were.
We're not gonna be that, we're not looking at that kind of fee.
No,
So it'll be $1.50 a quarter. Times
Roughly.
1,000 households. Which would be 150 a quarter, right?
But that would go to a water.
I'm saying, how much is it gonna cost us?
it's, Oakmont Water will collect that off the top.
Just past
So we
five,
won't, and it will,
Oh, you mean the homeowners are gonna pay that
Yeah,
yeah,
fee?
it'll be billed,
Yeah.
that's your water bill.
yeah,
Oh, I see.
it'll
With
be,
your
Okay.
garbage.
So it's an extra
Well,
$1.50.
your
Yeah.
water garbage will be the same.
Right.
It's great.
the past 5-year contract was just over $1 million total. So that would be $20,000 over 5 years to, which I mean, they're supplying staff and
Yeah.
the paper and everything, so I mean, when we sat down, we all thought it was pretty fair.
yeah, there was really no way to disagree with them.
And they have the software to do it, where.
They have all the addresses. and-
In-house, yeah, and they're gonna supply the address list, we're gonna work with them to eliminate any of the 4 or 5 family units or apartment units that have dumpsters, so I think we can all remember the transition when we first went to county.
Mhm.
Part of it was due to a bad list that was provided to county. Our hopes are by having that in-house. There's gonna be a couple accounts missed, but calling here to the office to say, hey, I didn't get a bill, or hey, I got a bill and have a dumpster. It's a lot easier to correct than here's Bob Smith's number. Call him, and not saying that they don't have customer service, but customer service on that level isn't there. And a lot of these haulers don't have full-time customer service reps sitting by a phone like a
Lot
call
less.
center.
A lot less headaches for our staff.
I believe so,
Yeah.
because the calls come down here anyways.
Right,
Well, I remember when Alcoson and Oakmont Water was separated,
Yes,
and it was a nightmare. But now that they're all on one bill, it's a lot easier to manage, if you have a problem, you could go to Alcoson. But now if you have a problem, you can go to Oakmont Water
Yep.
Authority and deal with it first.
one more question now. On the Center Avenue, is that? The original estimate was for paving from Athletic down. Correct?
It's first to second,
It's first to second?
correct.
Okay,
All the way.
that's what I thought.
Do I still have that wrong?
No, you have 100,000 for Center Avenue there.
Yeah.
Under number 8. But I just was checking to make sure that was all the way to second, because that's what I
Correct,
thought.
yeah, it's first to second.
Thank you.
You left the garbage truck. I wanted to ask, if we get an additional recycling bin, how does that,
that costs more.
Additional on top of what you already have.
like, what is the current policy? Like, if you moved and someone moved in, and let's say something happened to your recycling bins, then. you-
Oh, so we're working that out, we haven't had the answer, we're hopeful that county hauling possibly has some extras remaining. My understanding is I think they bought the extras off of Waste Management. So we thought if they had extras, we were gonna try to work a deal to where those just became borough property. And then someone moving in that didn't have it,
Perfect.
and then it's a decision we'll have to have that if those run out or if there are no extras. Will the new hauler just provide one of the little totes, or are they gonna provide the whole can again? Cause there's a certain expense with those, so I know it's nice that they're all the same in Verona colors and stamped with Verona, but a lot of places you have to order several to get them customized like that. So one of the thoughts were just a generic blue one of the same size. So that's some of the details we're still working on.
So is there any way we could see the specs or see the comparison between our specs from 5 years ago and what we're proposing now?
Yeah, once they're done, I'll send them down to Stephanie and we can share them with all the council to look at.
Okay, cause, all right, I was a little confused because it's on here with the motion to advertise, but it doesn't sound like we're ready to advertise.
We're doing that
That's
because
just-
we're hoping that we can advertise by the end of the month. Because we have to have it done and out and up and done by.
Has to be ready to be awarded in for the June business meeting.
Sure.
Because it's gonna be for us to move the billing and everything, we're gonna need buku amount of time. So it was easier to motion it with everything else.
Well, certainly one advantage to combining it with the water company is the same reason we did with Alpazan is that you gotta pay your bills, so we won't have that whole issue with people not paying their garbage bill.
Correct.
Because if you want your
Yeah,
If you want your water to remain on, you have to pay the whole bill, the garbage, the Alcosan and the water.
and one of the things we ran into in this cycle was they did not have the best accounting, so by the time they had delinquent bills, all of a sudden, they were telling us that so many people were just not gonna be collected anymore, and we had this to scramble to get, we're now, work out with Oakmont, whether it's like one missed payment, the second payment, they'll be able to alert us of that almost instantly.
Right.
And I would think the biggest change in specs would just be the unlimited trash. Going from unlimited to 10 bags, I think everything else. and-
Yeah, the other thing we were looking at, the current contract, has e-waste. But it's not guaranteed, like you have to call and schedule it. Not that that's a big deal, but what a lot of communities have gone towards is just setting up e-waste events. And it costs you nothing, you just give them a parking lot, the residents sign up just so there's not a mass influx or a line down the street. And then they just sit there, they weigh your items and then charge you that day, so it doesn't need, like, even if Oakmont or Penn Hills residents came, it doesn't matter because it's free for the borough, you're just giving them a spot to collect.
So I think Penn Hills already has one or two of them a year
Most communities have been doing one or two just because you can't, without them, you can't get rid of the stuff.
for cell phones, laptops.
TVs,
and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think those were the two biggest things that we saw that would change.
Thanks, Matt.
No problem.
Next up, we have council member remarks. Here's Red Zach Showalter.
How are you? Thank you, Mr. President. I saw that Nancy and John both had community goals, which is a great idea. I wish I had thought of that. I'm still kind of doing some research, leaving some resources from DCD on what my committee will be working on, but also Ray and I am working on putting together a document, which is some general overarching goals for all the committees that will certainly be open to input. I'm hoping to have a Google document that we can all kind of update things into different communities and sort of decide on them in the meetings like we had one time.
So like last year, I guess it was, you guys, and Dave did this too, to say what your vision of what we should be responsible for.
We had, you gave us something like that, gave me something like that, Trish, that I did make. That I can send over to you guys, that's like the start of that,
Right.
so I'll get that out to you.
That would be most helpful.
Yes, of course. Did we start?
Yes.
Other than that, our committees will be advertised soon, so thanks everyone for your patience.
Very good, thanks, Trish. Next up, Dr. Carpenter.
Hi, yes, I just want to let people on council know that I did do that two-part blight training. The second part was today, so fortunately they sent a video. And it's very interesting information, and anybody who is interested in the paperwork that goes with it, you know, the handouts, I'd be happy to forward those to you. And anybody who's interested in seeing the videos, you can see them. Get in touch with me because it's a little bit of a trick to get in to see the video. You have to use my email. So.
Can you share a takeaway or two?
Let me think here. the people who presented realized how big of a problem blight is. They shared a lot of resources, and today I believe they were going over, financial support that you can get for, remediating blight. But, you know, I don't have it memorized or anything, my papers are in there, so, but those are a couple of things, very briefly. But, I want to share that, especially to whatever committee is gonna be the committee taking care of this. I will say, from what I'm learning from LGA and from this, that some of that at least falls under public safety, because if a building falls down on top of somebody,
Sure.
that's not very safe. So I'm not quite sure exactly how that all fits. There's overlap with the committees, but you know, there's a lot of stuff out there on blight, and there's a lot of money out there to get help with blight.
It's all work in progress.
It is,
Yeah.
but you know, it's being more thought about and put out there to the public and to councils and municipalities about how to deal with it, you know, anyway. The other thing, and that's probably not exactly accurate, because I don't have the goals figured out for public safety yet. But I just wanted to mention that I am completely open to not only my committee members' input, which is John and Tim, but also anybody on council's input on what they'd like to see public safety doing this year. And if Tim and John are available, I'm willing to have a committee-only meeting on the 19th, next Tuesday at 5:30. So if you guys are available, let's do that. We can just do a half an hour and talk about what you guys see as goals and vision of public safety. So I'll do that and then start opening it up in April after they're advertised. So that's it for me.
That's it. Thank you, Nancy. Next up, Vince.
Yes, I am now the chair of Parks and Properties Committee. I didn't want to jump the gun and state any committee goals before having a meeting with the committee people. So that being said, Trish and Nancy, you're both on Parks and Properties with me. If you have any ideas for this year's goals, like to see, email me, and that also goes every other member of council. If, I mean, Parks and Properties it's a pretty big committee. There's
Yeah.
Verona's either Parks or Properties.
So you're talking about personal property of people too, right?
It was like a merger of parks,
Yeah.
and infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would assume,
We felt infrastructure, and we had a lot of the,
We have a lot more support
Yeah.
now, a lot of the staff maintain their inventories and.
like you said, it's a lot of overlap, so, you know, some code enforcement might fall under Parks and Properties, some other ordinances and stuff might fall under that, but
if we can't find any other committee, we'll just give it to you,
this
Vince.
is just, so, yeah,
That's
just.
our, we promise we won't give you every human property.
Oh, I know that, and like, what Nancy said was right, some of the properties might start out in Parks and Properties and then move to public safety when they start becoming a public safety, so. There's gonna be, but, our first meeting will be the second Monday of April at 5:30 p.m.
April 8th.
And give me, your requests before that, and I will put it on first month's agenda. We will be talking about the Cribs contract, with RAA, and there's some other stuff we will be talking about. We have to do immediately before summer, but, that's all I have, just.
Well, I was just gonna mention that, a while back, before Stephanie got here, maybe before Christine, I can't remember. There was some property where we had to ask DPW to go in, and it may have been you, Vince, or somebody wrote a policy about going on private property by borough workers to clean up terrible messes.
That was right before I got on. but
Okay.
Christine was working that, because
Yeah,
people were calling and wanting them and they weren't allowed.
Yeah.
It's not, our code enforcement's not even allowed on property.
right, so that's why I was saying about those kind of properties, I don't know if that's, would be under that, but that's what we did.
Thanks, Vince. Next up, Tim.
I don't have anything at this time, I will get my committee members on the finance committee.
Thank you. Next up, John DeMellis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm newest member on council here and I'm honored to chair the personnel committee. And I'm really looking forward to working with Vince and Sylvia, personnel. And you know, as far as goals are concerned, you know, we're still gonna establish what the scope of what we're going to do, but you know, right now, you know, one of my ideas is just to establish an employee, you know, general employee handbook for the borough. You know, for all future employees, and I discussed that with Vince briefly. But, you know, we just like with every other committee, there's gonna be some overlap. You know, there's issues involving personnel that, you know, would kind of, you know, fall into finance or, you know, public safety. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And you know, we're really, you know, we want to get everyone's input as to what we, you know, how we're gonna move forward with everything. That's all.
Very good, John. Thank you. Next up, Mrs. Provenza.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. We're going to, Vince and Tim and I are going to be meeting on the Community Relations Committee. And we'll report back to you on that. And I did want to make a report. We did interview yesterday a gentleman for the policeman's position. And we all seemed very favorable with him, and we just hope that when the background check is done, that everything that needs to be checked will be very favorable. And we still continue to look, so hope to have a couple more.
Continue to search, right?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Next up, special committees. Mrs. Provenza again, Alon.
Yes. Under ALOM, the next educational conference coming up is going to be held in Hershey. And at this time, I don't have full information, but as soon as I get it, I will share it with everybody. That's one of the. And the other Seven Springs is coming up. I wish everyone well with it. There's a lot of wonderful information there. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next up, the COG, meeting was last 2 weeks ago. There's nothing pending going on there, other than we have a couple motions later to advertise the UCC and the INPC Board of Appeals ordinance.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Since it's COG. If anybody hasn't told me yet and they're interested in going to the COG dinner, please let me know now. Because I will be turning in the reservations.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you guys. Okay,
I'm going.
well, I'm not. I'm watching basketball.
That's
Good.
And I'll have your basket for you next week.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Now, old business, we have nothing. Ordinary items, we're calling it. Number one, we need a motion to accept the minutes from the January 2nd and January 9th, 2024 meetings.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter,
Second.
second by Mr. Floda. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, passed. Next up, we need a motion to accept the bills from February 24th.
For financial.
What's that?
Well, what?
Next up, we need to, sorry about that, we need to accept the treasurer's report from February 24th.
I'm confused by that.
Okay, starting, and you probably have seen this a lot on other agendas, you will actually have a little report. It was supposed to be included in with with all of your packets, it was not. You will get the bank statements as of the balance of the end of each month, that gives you a better idea of where we're at. If we went right now by an income statement, it sounds like we're going, like we are way in the hole, we're not, it's just the time of the year. So you will have that on your statement, which means the entire public will also have that on their agendas. And then, so that would be the treasurer's report, and then you guys get the full out version of the the report, and that will still go online. And then as for the bills, we will give you the 5 most expensive bills that are currently on. And then you also get a list of the other bills, but they have to be approved separately. Do they have to or do they not? I got confused about that.
Why would they have to be?
I don't think they separately.
What's that?
The one person said separately,
Which one is separate?
the treasurer's report would be approved and then the bills would be.
Oh, okay, well, that's, yes. You don't have to accept or approve the treasurer's report, it's just a report.
Okay,
You just have to approve.
Yeah, that's why I was
it.
confused.
okay.
Cause we don't do any of the other, we used to call for motions for the fire chief report and police chief report, and then
So
when I figured out we don't have to.
So we're just gonna go to the motion to accept the bills then.
Okay,
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, bills.
I'll,
you can put the treasurer's report under reports,
I will from now on.
you know, above the code enforcement report, maybe.
Yeah,
Stephanie, this all sounds really great, especially good with the transparency to the public. So I just want to point out that this is a slight change from the committee chair presenting to the staff presenting.
Yes, we learned in local government academy, it's a little more ambiguous way to do it. Instead of
more ambiguous or more unambiguous?
ambiguous, yeah, instead of council member making it could be misconstrued as bad for council members to be giving reports when it's not, they're just giving a report. It's not their fault, so.
and I have no problems doing it, and like I said, from now on the agendas, you will see the balance, you will see that little report on there. So it'll be open and honest, that will be the treasurer's report unless there's something that's going on.
There you go, all right.
What you're saying is these other reports, we'll still get those too.
You will still get those, I'm just not gonna report on them because they're not.
So we just doing a motion to accept the bills then?
Yes.
Yes, motion to pay the bills.
I need a motion to accept the bills from February 24th.
I'll second.
Mr. Long, second by Dr. Parker, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay, new business. Got about 5 or 6 motions here. We need a motion to ratify the updated police contract.
I made it.
Motion by Mr. Floda,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Long. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Next, we need a motion to advertise a request for garbage bids.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Long,
Second.
second by Mr. Floda. Any questions?
I just wanna make it clear that we get to see those specs before it goes out to.
Mr. Pitch already said we're gonna see them.
All right, just
Thank
want
you. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Next, we need a motion to advertise the change of date for the April 23rd workshop meeting due to election day to April 30th.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions?
And that is also at 7:00 P.M.
That is also at 7 p.m., yes. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. The next, I need a motion to advertise committee meeting dates.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Provenza,
Second.
second by Mr. Floda. All in favor? Any questions? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Passed. Next, I need a motion to advertise the IMPC Board of Appeals ordinance.
Just a point of order, it's IPMC.
Yeah, the M and the P were transposed, it's
Yeah.
International Property Maintenance Code.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you for noticing that. IPMC Board of Appeals ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter,
Second.
second by Ms. Zach Showalter. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next, I need a motion to advertise the UCC Board of Appeals ordinance.
I'll make that, motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Ms. Zach Showalter. Any questions? All in favor? Aye, passed. Or against? Passed. Next, I need a motion to approve a handicap parking spot at 455 North Avenue.
I'll make that.
I'll make that.
Oh, okay.
First by Ms. Zach Showalter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next, I need a motion to approve the MOU agreement with the Garden Club.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The last one is a motion to approve $1,350 for cleaning of the floors in the Borough Building.
Make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Zach Showalter, second by Mr. Long. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
I'm exhausted.
I'm exhausted. We can make a motion out of four motions max. Every meeting.
If they're wrong, I apologize.
I have them all, I wrote them all down.
I have them.
Next up, newsletter,
Announcements.
what's that? Announcements. Mrs. Provenza.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me. Hope you all enjoyed the spring edition of the newsletter. We're currently working on the summer issue, and that's going to cover June, July, and August. As an article to do Wednesday, May the 1st. For articles, please see John on board, or you may reach him at pardon me, may reach him at Verona Newsgroup, email.com, or at 412-828-3607. And for ads, I can be reached at 412-828-7726. Chamber of Commerce next meeting is going to be held Tuesday, March the 19th, 7 p.m. here in the Borough Building. The Easter egg hunt will be on Saturday, March 30th at 11 a.m. here at the park. Alice in Wonderland will be present, and also we're going to have the children's train again. And Chambers continually taking applications for new board members, but also new members. Twin Borough Ministries, the next community dinner will be held on Wednesday, March the 20th, 4:30 to 6:30 at the Methodist Church. It will be prepared by Riverside Community Church, and it's going to be hosted by Methodist Church. Historical Society, next meeting is going to be on Thursday, March 21st. And that's at 7 p.m. in the Borough Building here. The guest speaker is going to be Gary Rogers from Oakmont Historical Society, and he's going to be speaking on the history of the Verona Fire Department. All are welcome, and do bring a friend. Along, that was already mentioned, and if there's any questions or comments, glad to take them. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Provenza. This time, we're comments from the public. Comments to be heard on public related items, please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand, clearly state your name and address, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. I don't see any virtual hands and there's nobody at the podium. This time I'll take a motion to adjourn. First by Mr. Long, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.